Hi, and welcome to the Love How Deep podcast with Brian and Heather Mayer. Our purpose is to equip married couples like you with resources that rely on the transformative power of God's Word to strengthen your relationship. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Love How Deep. We're so excited that you're choosing to join us today, and just as always are hoping and praying that you find some useful things that you can implement in your marriage.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll have a little bit of fun too as we do the episode. How about that?
I know.
Yeah.
I know, because we're just kind of doing this on the fly. That's
Right.
always fun. Nothing planned. Woo!
Right.
The planner in me is screaming.
Yeah, most of the time we plan, but we're going to be talking about the big C, right?
Yes, it's really good.
Yeah.
The big C.
The big C is communication.
That's a big one.
And I would say when we typically ask couples, like, what is the number one thing that you struggle with? It's almost always communication. So hopefully this will be very helpful to you.
Yeah.
And just like Heather said, this is more impromptu. We've done this a little bit on the podcast before.
Several times.
Taking some cards. We have these handy dandy cards.
Bam.
You can pick up couples communication cards. There's all kinds of different types. We would highly recommend you do it. You'd have some great conversations with each other. But we've not scripted this. We've not thought about our answers. We're just going to ask, and we're going to see where this thing takes us, right?
Yep, wherever the wind blows.
That's right.
That's so fun.
So with that, you want to ask the first question, or you want me to?
Go for it.
All right.
Ask away.
All right. The first question is, how do you share your feelings with your partner?
Well, I think that if they are strong feelings, if it's something that brings you a lot of emotion, like more negative kind of things, like I think there's a certain way to go about doing that.
Okay.
Like we talk to our couples about this all the time, about the way you share your feelings, or about a problem that is happening.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it's like if you're talking like I really like this restaurant, or I really enjoyed this place that we visit, or whatever, like that's a light thing. That's like a more positive thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're even saying like I really don't like whatever, fill in the blank, like those are a little easier. I'm talking like going a little bit deeper to the things, the feelings that you have surrounding an issue or a problem or something that's going on in your marriage that's not good. So the tip that we tell our couples, like I love it. I think you have to start with that I feel statement. I feel like, when I come home from work, I want my house to be a place of rest and restoration. I feel like I need to feel at peace, but when I've just cleaned the house and then I come home from work and there's clutter and stuff everywhere, my brain is cluttered, my heart is cluttered, I just feel like I can't relax.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a better way. To phrase that sort of issue, being the house is too cluttered and you messed it up again. If I were to come to you and say, Brian, I just cleaned this house and your stuff is everywhere again, like he's gonna be on the defense. I'm gonna be on the defense. Like it's just not gonna be good.
Can you see it in my face already?
Yeah. So but that's what happens, and that's something that all of us do. It's a habit that we're in that we've got to break.
Right.
And so if you start with an I feel statement, that puts it on you. That this is how this problem is making me feel. And then tell why. Like, why do you feel that way? And if you had the opposite, how could that help you? And I think that leads to a good constructive discussion on finding that happy medium and compromising. So
I like it.
Yeah,
I think
really
good.
Yeah, thanks.
I don't know if there's anything else I could say about that.
All right.
Yeah. It's
All
important.
Right.
Feelings are important, and they're important to communicate.
They are.
All right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You got one for me?
I do. All right. What does your partner do that makes you feel that he or she is not listening?
Well, I know we talk about it a lot, and it probably gets cliche, but it would be the phone.
They're always in the way.
Yeah, we're always buried in our phone. And
yes.
I mean, the thing that I like what you've talked about recently is that when, like, say I'm on the phone, in some ways, maybe it's not fair that you come to me immediately and say, maybe you blurt something out like I'm I'm feeling frustrated right now, and I'm on the phone, and I don't even have a moment to be like, wait, what?
What
And
just happened? Did you even catch all of what I just said? Yeah.
So I don't necessarily think it's always the person that's in their phone's fault. It has to be a situation of like, hey, I've got something important to talk to you about. Do you mind putting your phone down? Or hey, can you, once you're done with whatever you're doing on your phone, do you mind putting that down? Let's just chat a little bit about something. So,
Right.
you know, I don't think it's always one-sided. It's always the person that has the phone's
Right.
fault. But
That's
to
true.
answer the question, that is an issue. That's a difficulty that
really
most
is.
people have. I think for me, sometimes it's just having a lot on my mind, and you know that's something that I need to work on and be more fully mentally present
Right.
in the situation. You know, rather than coming home and thinking about work or thinking about some what if scenario of something I'm worried about in the future.
Right.
You know, that kind of clouds what's going on in the present moment. And then typically I guess what was the question?
What does your partner do that makes you feel that he or she's not listening?
I know another thing that I do is, and I'll be quick about this one, but if I say, for example, you say, you know, I'd really love to go to that Mexican restaurant for lunch, and then an hour later I'm like, you know, I'm really thinking Mexican might be nice today. Would you like to go to a Mexican restaurant? And then you're thinking, okay, I just
Didn't I just
mentioned
say
this
that?
an hour ago.
Yes, that does happen a lot.
Yeah.
That does.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So yeah, those are just a few ways in which, you know, I feel like we show that we're not listening. So
Yeah, so it sounds like the tip is that is timing of and the way that you preface what it is that you need to say to make sure that you do have your spouse's attention.
yes.
So by saying, do you mind putting your phone down for a second? Can we have a conversation? Like just find a good way to preface that so that you can get their attention.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
All right. I have a question for you.
Ooh, I'm on the hot seat.
Let's see here. Do you let your partner know if he or she says something that makes you feel put down?
No.
Okay, good. I never make you feel put down, right?
No, that's hard. That's hard because if you're married to someone that puts you down a lot, like you kind of emotionally get beat up and get used to it, and it's like you kind of feel like it's not going to do any good to even say anything. Nothing is going to change the person. So I think where's that question? I want to look at that again. Do you let your partner know? I think that you should, because again, you're talking about feelings and you're talking about your relationship, and you know there's something going on if they're putting you down in some way. I think that you have to talk about that and
kind of like, what's the larger issue here, or what's the problem, or why are you putting me down?
Right. But I don't think that it should be swept under the rug because clearly that's hurting you.
Yeah.
You can't sweep it under the rug. Maybe some professional help is what's needed too to help rekindle that love in your marriage. And but yes, I do think it's important to share that, you know, and especially in the right way, the right timing.
Kind of like with what you
I
said
feel
earlier,
statements
right.
and
I feel
things like
embarrassed
that.
when you know, put me down in front of friends or something like that, right?
Right. And I think that if your partner says something to you in that moment that's put you down, I think that's the time that you need to say, listen, that really breaks my heart and it makes me feel X, Y, and Z. You know, I think you do have to confront things like that as hard as it is. You do have to do that.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I think that's one area we're really good at. We don't put each other down in front of others. Maybe we'll say some things in a joking manner, but we can kind of tell that if we're both laughing, it's fine. But if there were ever a situation where one of us were upset, you know, then obviously we would want to stop that, even in a joking manner.
Right, so, right. Yeah, you do have to watch that sarcasm.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
All right, you got a question for me?
I do.
All right.
It's kind of along in the same vein of that. Do you find it difficult to share negative feelings with your partner? We've got a lot on feelings today.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. So, do you find it difficult to share negative feelings with your partner? If so, why?
Yeah. Well, for some reason, my mind went to childhood on this one. We talked to a lot of couples that where there's one or maybe both people that struggle to share negativity or negative feelings, and sometimes it does go back to how they were raised, and that when you scrape your knee or something, get up, don't cry,
You're fine.
just move on,
Don't be
you're
baby.
fine. It's like don't make a scene, that kind of thing. Or if I've seen situations where maybe a child has moved around a lot and they're lonely and they're sad and they bring it to their parents and I hate this, I don't like moving, and you're just kind of told, well, you're just going to have to buck it up, this is what we have to do.
Yeah,
And
you'll just make new friends. You'll be fine.
Yeah. And then I
Be
think
a big boy.
exactly. And I think what ends up happening is as you go through life, then you start to feel like, you know what, I'm not going to share these negative feelings with somebody because I'm just going to be shut down, told it's not important, made fun of, made to feel less than, that type of thing. So I guess to answer the question is, I think a lot of people find it difficult to share negative feelings, of course. And so I think what you have to do is just realize and recognize that it is difficult, and maybe just little by little, share some things. And then maybe you could even tell your spouse, hey, go easy on me here. I'm really struggling with this. I don't normally share this. Can you, just treat me with some empathy and some care and some kindness.
Right.
Just make that request.
Right. That's good.
So,
That's good.
It's kind of what I have to say on that. Anything you want to add, or you feel okay on that one?
It's good.
All
What's
right.
next?
Okay. Let's see. Oh, how about this one? How do you handle problems that arise in your relationship? And all these are kind of interrelated.
They are.
Yeah.
Sweep it under the rug. I mean, I'm
Let's
not
do
going to
it.
lie.
We're standing on a rug right now, actually.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Like in my first marriage, everything was swept under the rug. So that was hard because it's
what
all
was that
still
like?
left there. It's just buried and it festers and it's like a cancer in your soul. Like
Is it-
because nothing is being dealt with.
Is it okay if I ask, like, so if you were to bring something, I mean, maybe you got to the point pretty quickly where you didn't, but if you brought a problem up, typically what would the response be? Would it just be, no, we're not talking about that, or no, it's okay, or you may not even remember, it was so long ago.
Gaslighting.
Oh. So it's not my problem, it's your problem. You're the one that's,
Or just flat out lying, like, no, that's not true. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. And just,
Gotcha.
And that I was the problem. And
Okay.
so, but now, I mean, how do we handle problems in our relationship? I do feel like we communicate about them. Like it's because I did not want to repeat that previous marriage. I wanted this to be different. I wanted to do things as, I guess, the right way. I don't know. I don't want y'all to think that we have it all figured out perfectly. Cause
you just blew our cover.
yeah, I mean, because we don't. But I think that we have both been very intentional in our marriage to, problem solve together, to hit things head on, to talk about it and to not just sweep it under the rug and harboring all of that unforgiveness between us and things like that. Like we, so what I would say to you is communicate about the problems in effective, appropriate ways.
Yeah.
Don't just ignore the problems that are going on. Because it's not good. Like that's your downfall. If you're having problems in your finances, you've got to work on it together. You're a team. It's your money together. You've got to work on it. If you're having problems with your children, you've got to talk about those things. You've got to handle them head on. You've got to work on it with each other.
That's right. Yep. And I would say, just to add real quick, I mean, obviously going to God is important.
Yes.
If you're struggling to be able to feel listened to or to know how to talk about some things,
Absolutely.
that's very important.
Yes.
So praying, asking God for some strength when it comes to dealing with these issues.
I agree.
Got one for me?
No, I wasn't trying to cut you off. I was just clearing my space here, Okay. But yes. All right. Do you find it hard to believe all that your partner tells you?
Well, I will say personal experience, is the answer to that is a flat out no. No, I don't know that I've ever. I'll be honest. Like we've been married since 2005. I don't know that I've ever had a moment where I'm like, I don't know that I believe what Heather's telling me, and that's pretty rare and that's pretty special.
Yes.
But I know that's not always the case for most people, and for some couples it's a lot worse, and so it becomes difficult, when you're not sure if you're, because you're trying to juggle how to respond to something, but yet then you're thinking like, is this really true? And it's just a lot. It can be kind of weighty and stressful and confusing on how to handle that. And I mean, of course, I think it's probably, well, the one thing that I could say to people that will, hopefully this will help, is try to recognize and realize if you're having trouble trusting your partner, is it because of something that happened in your past outside of this relationship that you're bringing in?
Yeah.
Or is it truly, no, there's a history of my partner or my spouse lying to me and being deceitful. And then, because that can happen too, where you kind of are pulling things in from your past. So.
I mean, I would say that when we first got married, and there were moments that I had those feelings of like, can I believe you? Can I trust you? But that's because of the previous marriage. I brought in baggage. There was a lot that I actually had dealt with already, but there was still some lingering junk, and just I had to still work through all of that and learn to trust you, because you've never given me a reason not to trust you, other than the fact that you were a man. And I've told you that before. And so I had to learn to trust you, though, and to trust everything that you were telling me, and to not doubt you. But so.
Yeah, I'll just be real quick. We probably mentioned this on the podcast before, but I know early on when had just gotten married, you innocently asked me a question about my day, and I had said, oh, I had a great lunch with 3 female coworkers, and you just kind of lost it on me. And the thing that I thought was cool about it afterward is that it wasn't just an all on you and nothing on me. It was like you recognize that, hey, I am projecting some of what happened. But then I also said, you know what? I get it. This probably isn't the best thing to be doing, no matter if you had that happen to you or not. And I started to realize, you know what? My marriage is more important to me than having lunch with 3 female coworkers. I mean, obviously. Right. And so then I made the decision after that, from here on out, no, I won't be alone with another female. So I could have just said, you know what? That was all on you. This is your issue to deal with. You need to figure this out. You need to. No, I think we kind of collaborated on it. Not that we were trying to do that, but I think that's kind of what came from that.
Right.
So,
I think it's important to say here that if there is some serious trust issue that's going on, that you're not able to believe things that your spouse is telling you, get help.
Yeah.
Get help.
Talk to somebody you can trust.
Talk to someone.
For sure. A friend or a professional, obviously.
I think, I mean, I really feel like that's what I would say there, is that it sounds like the fact that you can't believe or trust your spouse, that's pretty hardcore issue.
Yeah.
And
and I kind of hate that we always have to put that in, but we know that's the reality of some people's situations, is that we can talk as much as we can about, here's what you need to be doing, here's what you should be doing, here's how you can talk differently. But there are times when the relationship is so abusive and over the top that the answer is to separate and find somebody you trust, get some help, and then hopefully maybe things can reconcile, obviously, but maybe they don't. So, but anyway, that's kind of the not so fun side of some of the things we talk about and have to deal with.
But I mean, that's why we mentor couples that are hurting for these very reasons, and they need help, and they're very brave to get the help that they need. And so we would say the same thing to you.
Yeah. So I'm kind of lost on, am I asking you a question?
Yep.
Was that my question?
I'm all out.
Okay.
I'm done.
Wow. All right. So, it seems like a lot of these questions are sort of interrelated. Are there certain...
We already did that one.
Yeah.
Sorry, hang on, y'all. We talked about that. We're done.
We're done. Okay, wow. All right. It's almost like when class, you think you're going to continue with class, and you're like, nope, we're going to get out early today.
We're getting out early today.
We're gonna,
Woo!
we're going to end early. We're going to let you continue on your treadmill or mowing the lawn or doing your housework or whatever you're doing. Although, if you're watching a video, I would assume maybe you've taken a little bit of a pause, but we also do this on audio as well. So anyway. I think that's a wrap. Do you want me to go ahead and wrap us up and mention our free resource?
Go for it.
So we have a cool PDF, a worksheet. No, it's not a worksheet. It's a workbook. It's got several pages in it. It's on practical communication strategies, and I feel like it aligns perfectly with what we've been doing today. So if you would, we'll have a link in the show notes. The show notes are going to be at lovehowdeep.com/52. But really, anywhere where you see this video, we'll also have the link. Or you can go to lovehowdeep.com, and you will see the link there for this free resource. But get it, Practical Communication Strategies. You'll also be signed up to get our free newsletter, and you'll be able to stay abreast on everything that we are doing, and the shenanigans and the bloopers and the behind the scenes and the more professional times that we talk. So I think that's it, right?
That's it.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us. Take care until we talk next time.
Bye.